Although a community had been growing around the Man and Feild Mill since the late 1850s, Mansfield didn't become an official town until the citizens voted to incorporate on August 23, 1890. A lot's changed in the last 130 years. Back in 1890, the population was only 418. In 2019, Mansfield's population was estimated at 73,410. In 1890, the city limits enclosed only around 291 acres, a little less than half a square mile. Today, Mansfield covers nearly 23,500 acres, or around 36.5 square miles. Another difference, Mansfield was still a frontier town, and the historic buildings you see on Main Street weren't there in August 1890. So what was Mansfield like in 1890? Let's take a look. At the center of town was the Man and Feild Mill, on the corner of Water, now Main, and Broad Streets. The mill was built around 1859-1860 by town founders Ralph Mann and Julian Field. It was a 3-story brick building and the first steam-powered mill in North Texas. The mill stayed in operation until about 1910 and was torn down in 1918. Many of the buildings of the era were wood frame, like the 2-story Mayfield and Stewart groceries. Before the grocers occupied the building, it was a saloon. Another frame building was the Conway Leeper Lumber Company, located at the north end of Water Street. The lumberyard became the Farmers Lumber Company in 1900 and was demolished in 1934 to make way for Highway 287. In 1885, leading citizens organized to bring the Fort Worth and New Orleans Railroad to Mansfield, with service from Fort Worth to Waxahachie. To cross Walnut Creek, a bridge was needed. This trestle was built in 1885, renovated in 1906, and is still in service 135 years later. In the months following incorporation, the citizens elected a city council, Newton C. Piles became the first mayor, and started a building boom of new homes and commercial buildings. The congregation of the First Baptist Church was busy constructing a new frame church at the corner of East Broad Street and Sycamore Street. On the west side of Water Street, Dennis Mahoney broke ground on his new building in October 1890. Mr. Mahoney wasn't aware of it at the time, but he was constructing the oldest commercial building still standing in Mansfield today. In addition to the Mahoney Building and the Railroad Bridge, Mansfield has 12 historic homes that existed in 1890. Less than 2 months after incorporating, the Fort Worth Gazette reported in October 1890, "Mansfield is taking on quite a boom, the result of which will be many most valuable and lasting improvements." She has already made much improvement in the past few months, several good brick business houses having been contracted for, 3 or 4 of them being constructed now, and many beautiful residences that would do credit to our best cities have been built. Mansfield has many superior advantages to any other town of many times her size in the state, for a profitable business location, for a pleasant home, for church facilities, for a #1 college, for a bountiful supply of pure water, for a greater number of enterprising, public-spirited citizens she cannot be surpassed in the state of Texas. It seems in some ways, Mansfield hasn't changed at all. Happy 130th, Mansfield.